Okay, my dear students. So today concept is JavaScript. Okay. So now we will discussing about the JavaScript. Okay. This is Ramakrishna B, Assistant Professor CSC. Okay. So today's our objective is introduction to JavaScript, static and dynamic web pages, different types of scripting language, and the syntax of JavaScript. Okay. Now we have to discuss introduction to JavaScript. Okay. JavaScript is invented in 1996 by Netscape. Okay. So mainly what is JavaScript? So JavaScript is a web-based client-side programming language that runs in the browser. That means JavaScript is also a web-based programming language and also a client-side programming language. This is also can be run in the web browser. Mainly use of JavaScript is, so it is an interactive. So that means it is a client interactive. It is easy to make interactive web pages that can add life to statical HTML web page. So for example, so here interaction, that means whenever you have to enter the login details, or if you have to enter your Gmail account credentials, like that, first of all you have to enter your username and then you have to enter your password and click on login. If the password doesn't match with actual password, then it raises in your entered wrong password. For that purpose you have to use the JavaScript. So validations purpose, invoke actions purpose, so for that purpose you have to use the JavaScript. So it is the most popular scripting language on internet and works on all major web browsers. So it can be works on all major browsers like Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, Safari, like that. All the web browsers, the JavaScript pages can be executed. So the next, JavaScript introduction. So in that we have only two types of web pages are available. That is static web page and then dynamic web page. So static web pages, in the previous classes we have to create the HTML pages and then CSS pages. Those are all the static pages because there is no actions and no interactions done with any user. That means whenever you have to create one table and enter the data, so that will be displayed as is in our output page. So we can't modify it. So that type of pages is called as static web pages. So dynamic web pages, web page has an having interaction with client as well as the validations can be added. So whatever the pages that will be interacted with the client, that type of pages is called as dynamic web pages. So consider your with Gmail login, Facebook login, Twitter login. These are all the dynamic pages. Whenever you have to enter the credentials, then if the credentials is matched with your original credentials, then next home page will be open. Otherwise, it will be raises then error messages. So this is an interaction between the browser and then client. So that type of pages is called as dynamic web pages. So the next, script means small pieces of code. So in the JavaScript you have to use some scripting language codes. So that means you have to write some code for doing the actions. So that is a small pieces of code is nothing but a script. So scripting language is a high level programming language, so whose programs are interpreted by another program at runtime rather compiled by the computer process. That means it is in a high level programming language and it can be interpreted. That means you can run any programs. So by using JavaScript you can create interactive web pages. That means you can create interactive pages, that means user and then browser interaction pages you can create. So whenever you have to create that interactive web pages, then that web pages are more efficient rather than statical web pages. So here scripting languages are two types, client side scripting language and then server side scripting language. So client side, our JavaScript is in a client side scripting language. That means the client side scripting is used for performing the validations. That means if your email is wrong, so if your password is wrong, so for that situation it raises a valid error message. That means validation should be done with the client side scripting language. So the next one is server side scripting language. The server side scripting language is used for database verification. That means server side. So whatever the data, that means whatever the data is stored in our database, that will be matched with our entered data. So then the type of scripting code is nothing but server side scripting. It is used for database verifications. Client side scripting, it is used for validations. Okay. So then features of JavaScript. JavaScript is a lightweight and interpreted programming language. It is an object-based scripting language. Then JavaScript code as written between the tags. What the tags? Script and script. So in all HTML pages should have to written in the tags. Similarly, JavaScript code also be written in the tags. The tags are open script and close script. Okay, all JavaScript statements end within a semicolons. Okay, JavaScript ignores white spaces, and JavaScript also is a case sensitive language. Script programs can be saved either .js or .html. Because in our HTML pages you can embedded our JavaScript. So otherwise you can also be write our JavaScript program externally, that can be saved with .js. Otherwise, if you are embedded our JavaScript code in our program, then it will be saved with just .html. So advantages and limitations of JS. So advantages of JavaScript: can put dynamic text into HTML page, easy to validate from input data. So with the help of JavaScript, you can validate our input data. That means whatever the user entered data, that can be validated. For example, if the entered mobile number, so mobile number should consist of 10 characters. Unfortunately, you entered 11 characters, then it automatically raises an error. So that type of error messages could be developed with the help of this JavaScript. That is the validation. JavaScript code can react to user events. So this code can be reacted with the whatever the events performed by the user. The next, limitations of JavaScript. Client-side JavaScript does not allow the reading or writing of files. This has been kept for security. So in the client-side JavaScript doesn't allow the reading or writing. Okay. Then JavaScript doesn't have any multi-threading or multi-processing capability. In the JavaScript, we don't use any multi-threading and multi-processing capabilities. Okay, then syntax. So every programming language has a syntax. Same like that, our JavaScript also has a syntax. That syntax is, so in that we have to develop our JavaScript in between OpenScript and EndScript tags. So that can be script code can be embedded in our HTML page. So OpenScript and write the JavaScript code and close the script. So JavaScript in head or body, you can embed our JavaScript either head section or body section. You can place any number of scripts in HTML document. So scripts can be placed in the body or in the head section of HTML or in both. Okay, you can write our JavaScript code either in body section or in head section, or you can write in both body section and head sections. Okay, so this is a small example of JavaScript. So but our JavaScript can also be write in our HTML. Otherwise you can write our JavaScript and externally and embed it in here. Okay, here HTML body script language equal to JavaScript, type equals to text/JavaScript. So here document.write hello. So in the Java, whenever you have to write the JavaScript, you should have to follow the some conditions and it follows the some attributes. So if you want to print the data on our with the help of JavaScript, then you have to use document.write. So then automatically it will be print hello world. So once our scripting code is done, then you have to close the script and you have to close the body and finally you have to close the HTML. So this is the basic example of JavaScript. Okay, so this is the introduction regarding to the JavaScript. So right now we will see just one simple example, and I have to run with the browser. Okay, so this is my JavaScript code. Here I have mentioned HTML tag and then body tag. In the body I have to mention script. So whenever you have to write the JavaScript, you should have to use the tags script and end script. In the script, the language is JavaScript, type text JavaScript. So here I have used the document.write hello world. So this code you can also be used in head section also. Once a code is done, then you have to save it and run launch in Chrome. Then automatically my data will be displayed on my web page. Okay, so this is basic JavaScript page. Okay, thank you.